Hello, YouTube audience out there. Thank you very much for visiting video number 4 of my cartooning series. For those of you that have not been with me for the first 3 sessions, I've been step by step just showing you, the audience, how to draw simple cartoon characters, how to draw a character in 3-dimensional perspective, how to draw a character from numerous angles, how to draw different facial expressions, and then in the last video we looked at gestural drawing and how to draw a character in dynamic action poses and using a stick body in order to do that. In this lesson we are going to be looking at 3 primary character types. So if you are designing a character, there are certain classic features that define the 3 different character types, and I'll show you that in just one moment. So looking at this layout here, we have on the left side of the screen, we have the cute, goofy, and macho character. This is something that when I was teaching cartooning to a class in person, this was a chart that I had drawn up for my students. And if we look at the first character, cute, there are certain features, and I've written them all on the right side of each figure. So I'm just going to quickly scroll through this so you can have a visual of the stick person and the text, and then I will be talking through the drawing of each of these. So stick person, cute character, and you can pause the video if you want to write these features for yourselves. A goofy character, and finally the macho character. Now, one thing that I want to point out, again, these are the stereotypes of each character type. There are going to be modifications or alterations to this formula, but the cute character, anytime you're trying to draw something that looks cuddly or looks like a baby, these would be features that you would want to include. Goofy character would be your lanky, dopey, your clumsy type character. And then finally macho. The macho features are often included with a lot of superheroes, a lot of the there's been a lot of superheroes in the movies nowadays, and if you were wanting to draw a character that could fit into that universe or into that world, these would be features that you would want to consider. So thinking about that, I will now pull up Sketchbook Express, and we will draw our cute character together. Now, the first thing that I want to say when drawing a cute character is its head is quite large. So, like we've done for a lot of these cartoon images, I want us to start with drawing a circle for the head. So we're going to draw that curvaceous curved circle for the head. Next, we're going to draw our little pear-shaped body. And one thing that I want to just emphasize with this pear-shaped body is it's going to be quite small. As I've said with a lot of our conventional cartoon characters, the head to the body ratio is about maybe 1/4 or 1/5, where with the baby character, it's more like 1/3. Like if I take this head and then I just copy it down, there's 1, 2, 3. It's typically going to be about 3 head lengths in its a complete length. Its arms and its legs are going to be quite small. So again, we're just going to have those legs stick out and the arms stick out like we did before. And to keep things simple, we're not going to have any bending of the ligaments. We did that in our last video series, but to keep things simple and just to look at the basic proportions, we're going to keep everything fairly straight. And so we've got our basics there. Our hands and our feet, as I've said before, in drawing the skeletal figure, you always want to draw sort of the basic circles and kind of figure out where those features are going to be before we launch into any detail. But at this point, our stick person's pretty much done. And now we can go in and start drawing the detail for this character's face. Now, normally I have said, so if we were drawing, I'll just change this to red. If we were going to draw the typical perspective lines for where things should be located on a face or on a person, it would be something like this. You've got the horizontal line that is halfway down the face. It's just sort of the straight line, and then you've got this curve to show in order to have things parallel on both sides, to have some symmetry in the face. We were including that long vertical line, this one right here. In this instance, that line going down the middle to have our symmetry will stay. However, the line showing where the eyes should be located, it's going to be lower on the face. It's going to be something like this. And there might even be a slight curve to the line because it's lower on our sphere, on our ball. And now we can go in and start drawing some of our major features. So the bottom of our chin, so to sort of try to boil down what is the basic essence of the cute character, I would say fat and short. Everything's going to be fat and short, and all the features are small. So I'll just write that out here: fat, short, small features. So I did write those notes on that other sheet that I had there, but these are basically, in essence, the things you want to have on your character. Now, when I'm drawing the eyes for this character, the most important thing is having a really large forehead. So this distance right here, you want this to be very large. Typically, a cute character's eyes are going to be quite large, but the cute character would still work even if you just had, I'll just quickly erase this here, even if you just had a couple of dots, but they were located lower. Here, that was a really huge smile. Even if they're small, located lower on the face, so that you had a large forehead, you'd be fine. But I'm just going to keep that there. The pupils are going to be even larger than normal. So a regular cartoon character's eyes, the pupil is small, keeping it, maybe about a third the overall size of the eye is what the pupil would fill in. But in this instance, the pupil is going to fill up a big chunk of that eye. Have a really large circle indicating that highlight of the eye. So we've got a large highlight. And then we're going to have sort of the eyelashes sticking up on the top of that character's eye. One thing I want to repeat or emphasize: when you're drawing eyebrows, you don't want them to be any closer to the middle of the face than this zone. So this is this blue area. You don't want any eyebrows in there. Eyebrows will always stick out from the inside side of the eye going outwards. So for instance, if I'm drawing this one eyebrow here, it lines up with the insides as far in towards the center of the face as the edge of this eye, and then it curves around and comes out. But one thing that's going to really help the look of cuteness on a character is if you can have upward angled eyebrows, giving that sort of surprised expression. It'll help just exaggerate this sort of vulnerability of the character. The next thing that we can do is draw the nose and mouth and the ear. One thing that I want to just emphasize here, again, small features. So the nose is going to be just sort of this tiny little triangle with a tiny mouth. So all the features are fairly small. And if I'm even keeping true to that idea of keeping the features small, I might even want to shrink down the eyebrows as well. Keeping the features small and petite is important in capturing that cuteness. The ear, this is something we will talk more about when the placement of the ear, we will talk more about when we talk about human anatomy and where things should be located on a human face. But that ear, just as a quick reference, is it's going to basically connect to the head where these eyes are, as well as the nose. So this is sort of the vertical, the up and down placement of where the ear should be located, and it's right in the center. So if there was a line going around this way through the head, I don't know if you can see that, but a line that is 45 degrees from this red line of the middle of the face, that's where the ear should generally be located. But don't worry about that. As long as you've got an ear generally in this location here, you're going to be good. And again, you want to keep the features of that ear really small. Okay. Finally, another thing that's going to help kind of give it this cuteness. So just a big, huge forehead, big, tall, huge forehead. And then, as I've mentioned it once in one of my videos before, but if you can include a little bit of an eyebrow ridge right here on the side of the, I'll just get red here, right on the side, a bit of a ridge connecting to a curved mouth. That will really help in that's having that slight indication of the face. Then just to simplify, I don't want this video, I know my videos have tended to kind of go on in length. I'm just going to keep this simple. So if you want more instruction on legs and arms, look at my earlier videos. But going from thick to thin, gets a little bit thicker, thick to thin. So thin at the knees, thick at the body, and then thin at the feet again. Same thing with the arms, thick to thin elbows. It's thicker and thin for arms and legs. And one thing that, it really depends on your cartoon character. Typically speaking, short and fat is best. In this instance, the legs aren't incredibly fat. Arms and legs aren't incredibly fat. But it would actually help exaggerate this sort of vulnerable, helpless state of something that's cute, even if you can go ahead and thicken everything up. So I'll just thicken up my ba, everything that's here. Okay. And actually that one elbow is looking a little bit large in comparison to the rest of the body. This one too. But just nice and thick. And then I've talked a little bit about feet. Just keep them to simple triangles at this point. Heel coming to a point for triangles. And then we've got these sort of square shapes for the hands with the thumb. And again, we will go into more detail with hands and feet in a later video. But if you want a bit more instruction on these, you can look at my, I think in my third video lesson, I believe I do go over some of these features. But anyways, this is the essence of the cute character. And we've got a little bit of a diaper or something on that kid. But again, large eyes, huge forehead, placement of the eyes is low on the face. Features like eyebrows, ear, mouth, hands, feet are all small. And the ligaments are very kind of short. And you end up with something that's cute. So I'm just going to quickly erase that. The next character, so we looked at the cute character. So on this sheet here, I'll zoom out. You'll notice that I've stuck to this bear character. So I've got a cute bear, a goofy bear, and a macho bear all happening here. Just to show you that it's not even by necessarily by the features that are on your character, but by their proportions that are going to give a read of their personality. We're now going to look at this guy, the goofy character, and there are just some basic points here that I want to make. So again, we're going to start with the basic shape of the head, but if you're doing something that dopey, goofy, clumsy, we're just going to call him, not even sure if that's the proper way of spelling clumsy, but if we're doing the clumsy character, we're going to zoom in. Now, unlike most characters where you've got this big circle for the face and a smaller oval for the mouth with our facial features, in this instance, the top of the head is going to be quite small, and the snout of our character is quite large. So I don't know why. We're going to switch to the human being for this video. We were working with a dog in our other videos. We're going to do the human being. The features don't matter, the proportions do. So small top of the head, this guy right here, small. This snout, or the bottom part of our face, is going to be massively large. And if we're going to stick to a human being, the snout wouldn't actually stick out that much. It's not like a dog where you've got this protrusion in the front of the face. You've got, it just kind of comes down, but anyways, top of the head is small. Kind of to suggest that there's not much of a brain upstairs. Then we've got this oval shape, sorry, the pear shape of the body. Oops, I made it too large. Pear shape, and give some space between the head and the body. And this pear shape, it's going to be concave. Like, instead of drawing the pear this shape with like our little tail and the feet coming down, the pear shape is going to be going the opposite direction, and the arms and legs are going to be very long. So I'm just going to shrink this overall thing down in size, bring that up, and the arms and legs are going to be quite long and droopy. And if you really want to exaggerate the length of these things, so basically this character, because he's clumsy, he doesn't have a lot of energy to be lifting his ligaments. So if you just kind of want to have them hanging off the body, that's probably best. So just long, it's the opposite of the baby in the sense that the ligaments are all skinny and really long. And then the other thing I want to emphasize, a lot of the sort of silly, clumsy characters that you've seen in popular cartoons are based on clowns. The feet are going to be quite large, and the hands are as well. So really large features. So you can almost take every feature of the baby and do its opposite, and that's what this clumsy character is going to be. Really large features. Now I'm going to go in, and so you've seen basic stick persons there, and actually we'll do the neck, connecting the neck to the body. Now we can go in and actually I'm going to, sorry if you were drawing along and this kind of messes you up a little bit, I apologize. But what we're going to do is we're just going to rotate this entire thing forward, just to further exaggerate this sort of hunched back feature. And so, oops, thank you for bearing with me. So we're going to rotate this. So that we really want the sense that this thing is hunched back. And I'm actually going to just rotate these arms over. Hanging down, whoops. Thank you for your patience today. So the ligaments are just going to be hanging off the body. And this one as well. So just redraw the things to hang off of our bodies. Okay, there we go. And then even this entire head is going to be rotated forward a little bit. So all I've done is I've changed it so that it's really exaggerating this hunched, I'll just draw this in red, sort of this hunched back feature, and everything kind of hangs off of it. Okay, now we're going to go in and we're going to draw the detail. Now that our skeleton is there, we're going to go in and draw the features for our character. So I'm going to draw an even larger snout, or sort of chin, I guess, for this human. And again, being opposite to our baby, we are going to make really large, the eye placement is actually quite high on our character. And our features are, again, very large and huge. So we're going to have these big eyes on our character with their pupils, with a really long nose. That's really huge, kind of thinking about that clown, sort of a clown nose. And this is sort of our friendly guy. And even just to help exaggerate, putting a great big chin on him is going to help as well. So we're going to add the great big chin. And we'll have just a couple of hairs sticking off the top of his head with some ears. So we've got great big. Actually, let's exaggerate that chin even more. So great big chin, big eyes, but the eye placement, unlike the young baby, is high on the face with actually big, kind of clumsy ears will help too. Big ears, just big features all around will help with the dopey look of our character. Have some eyebrows on here, but you can see it kind of looks goofy, kind of looks, yeah, just awkward and clumsy. Long necks, and then we can divide the arms and hands. And again, I'll do this quickly. I don't want to over-explain everything, but we're going to draw our arms, our hands, with our fingers. Actually, I'll keep it to 3 fingers, just like a lot of cartoon characters you see. And again, the reason they did this when they were originally animating features, they wanted something that was simpler. It wasn't going to be as complicated. Got a great big hands hanging down. Great big sort of pot belly comes around and sticks in front of the character. And then we've got these long, lanky legs. So again, skinny and long. You can add whatever clothes you want to this guy after the fact. But again, we've got these heels for the feet, got a bit of an arch for the foot. And this comes around and we've got our foot shape. And that is the essence of the goofy character, sort of our clumsy, goofy, lanky character. And actually, proportionally, it would even be better. I'm just looking at this as a whole. And I'm often doing this when I'm working on a cartoon character. I finish it and I'm like, oh, certain features should change. This is one of the wonders of the digital age. I can just make this whole thing smaller, even to further exaggerate the lankiness and skinniness of this character. I can go in and change where all of this stuff is located. Random fact, we'll go in this when we look at human anatomy, but the fingers of a character, if the arm is fully extended, basically reach where the knees are located. But that's the basic essence of the goofy character. And If you want to make that head a bit larger, starting to look a bit small, but kind of drooped in front of him. Maybe something like that. And then we will draw our necks sticking out in front. But we've got our clumsy, goofy character with our great big belly sticking out in front. Just erase so that it looks like a belly. All right. Anyways, our clumsy character. Finally, we're going to be looking at our macho character. And when we're doing this guy, going back, referencing our chart again here, and you'll notice that all the features that I have discussed are located here on our little charts. But one thing I forgot to mention with our goofy character, the eyes are going to be at half mast. So if I'm drawing a goofy character's eyes, these long droopy things, our eyes are half shut with our pupils located here. If they look half shut, it's going to help exaggerate that expression of dopiness, being half awake, not fully alert, not fully present. Okay, and even having some hairs that are sticking up on the top of the head to kind of that fuzzy, dopey expression. Okay, and finally, we're going to be looking at this macho character's body. So major features here are a huge chest, a neck, a head. I drew the side view of this character's head here, so that the head is sticking into the front of the character's chest area. It's just kind of glued right on. There is no neck, and the head is actually located in the front of it. It's not on top, it's in front of the chest. And you've got these great big, burly, thick arms and sort of tiny legs in comparison to the top of the body. The chest takes up the whole body. So to draw that, I'm just going to make this large. We'll zoom in, and we're going to start off with this character. Actually going to start with the chest shape, because the chest is so important. We're going to draw a great big chest, nice and burly, with our head shape. As I said, it's kind of sticking in front of the chest. Oops, I'm just going to, my face was hiding there. There we go. So the head, and we'll get the basic shapes of the body in place. Okay. And normally we are drawing sort of a gourd, or like a pear shape for the body with the head, with the arms and legs. But in this instance, it's going to actually be opposite. So if we were using our basic skeleton from our last lesson, we've got our head shape, and then the pear is actually opposite. It goes from thick to thin with our arms and legs sticking off of that, and the head would actually be about right here. So this is sort of the simplistic version of that muscular character. So we'll zoom in, and we'll have our legs sticking out, tiny little legs in comparison to the body, and then our arms stick off. And if you want to draw some circles for the shoulders, that would be awesome. So this is sort of a straight on view of this character, but it's almost like the gourd or the pumpkin is in this red shape, but it's just sticking upside down. And another way to draw that would be two circles. So you've got this great big chest circle and this little circle at the bottom, and then you've got these big burly arms, kind of like a gorilla, sticking over the sides of the character. And as far as the feet, how big should the feet and the arms be? Generally, they are going to be fairly large. But again, it's the chest It's the placement, the size, and the placement of the chest that is going to matter the most with this character. So the feet and the hands can kind of be however big you want them to be, while still don't make them so large that the chest looks small. The chest should be the predominant feature, the most important feature of this character. I'm going to zoom in for this character's face. The chest or bottom part of the face is going to be the largest feature. So if I'm drawing two shapes here, there's the smaller part of the head with a larger chin. I'm going to use black. Split this in half. The eyes are going to be located similar to the goofy looking character near the top of the head, with eyes located near the top of the face. The forehead is smaller, and the mouth, the snout, the mouth is going to be the predominant feature. So I'm going to erase some of these extra lines here because this is getting to the point where I can't even make sense of what's here. So again, you want to keep your lines loose as you're sketching, but if you're finding you can't even know where to draw anymore because there's so many lines, probably a good idea to go in with an eraser. Now I'm going to divide this, so you've got midpoint line for the face and the mouth. If the placement can be really high, this is going to help. So the mouth is going to be quite high here, with a small little nose located here. And we'll, again, keep on that theme of doing people or human being. And if you want to include a little indication of some lips. Actually, that looks a little bit... we'll just do the bottom lip right there. That's perfect. Okay. And then we can have our little ears connected, again, between the eye and the... If you look at my face here for a moment, my ear is located between my eye and my nose. That's the distance. That's typically where the ear should be located. Okay, so I'll minimize that again. Have our little ears sticking off the side with our little bits of hair. With regard to the eyes of this character, I will maybe draw this quickly twice to emphasize what's going on. But we've got the basic circle shape of the eyeball. And then I will draw this in red. I'm going to have these angry eyebrows, furrowed eyebrows, coming over top, cutting into the eyeball shape. And then if you want to even include a squinty, as I said, the cheeks and the eyebrows are the most important features of facial expression. But if the cheeks are also cutting into that eye shape, so you can't see it, and cutting into the top, now you can go in and, so this is the basic shape here. Shapes of the eyebrows, angry eyebrows, cutting in from the top and bottom. So he's going to look, that angry expression is going to help give it that sort of mean, I'm going to beat you up kind of looking personality. And again, a great big chin that sticks out here. And if you want this to come to a bit of a point, that's good. But the chin, this overall size of it should be really large. Okay. That being done, now we can go in and start divvying up this character's body. So I won't go into the anatomy of the muscles today. That would, I think, would take too much time. But at this point, we can just start adding the muscles. And again, the elbow is typically about halfway down the body. In this instance, though, making the biceps maybe a little bit larger will help exaggerate how huge and massive they are. We've got the roundedness of the shoulders happening here and a bit of the musculature of the neck. And again, please note, there's really no neck. The head, most heads would be attached above this overall body shape. It would be, most bodies would be drawn where the head's up here, but if you can bring that head down so it's attached right onto that chest area, that'll help exaggerate the looks of this. Then we're going to add the overall shapes for the legs. And finally, we've got some heels and the arches of the feet. And just keeping this to the basic oval shapes so that we can focus on their proportion, overall size in comparison to everything else. And finally, we've got our, we can draw our chest shape. And we've got the muscle, the thumb and the fingers coming off of this hand. And so we've got the basic fist of the hand coming off of the character. So in a nutshell, big chest, big, huge arms, larger features like hands and feet, huge mouth. The eyes, you know what? The smaller they can be, the more menacing. I can even shrink these down. So you'll notice I'm even changing things as I go, just as I realize if you make the eyes smaller, they're not going to look as cute, and they're going to look more intimidating and mean. And kind of these squinty small eyes will help exaggerate this look of the mean gorilla-looking person. And then on top of this, you would draw all the clothes, but I won't spend any time on that today. So I will give you one more look at this overall chart here. I'll make this full screen. And again, I just want us to, if you're wanting, I don't know if you know how to do a screenshot, but hopefully by pausing on this for a moment, this will give you, basic rundown again of what we looked at. And again, that muscular character's head is stuck onto the front, not the top of the chest, especially with this side view. So that wraps up the three basic stereotypes of a character, and obviously there are going to be many different types of characters, but these are personality traits you'll notice through proportion that you will notice in a lot of cartoon characters. Thank you very much for sticking with me throughout this video. And in our next video, we are finally going to start looking at human anatomy, specifically how to draw a human face. Thank you very much. Goodbye.